What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we will talk a little bit about the Sword and Shield era booster boxes, what's going on there in terms of supply, but there are also a couple other things we do need to touch on first. We can start off, I guess, with Surging Sparks. We're back to around $240 on TCG Player. That $230 price tag didn't really last too long, maybe a couple of days. Could we get back down to that in the future? It is entirely possible, but I figured I would just point that out. Also, yesterday I didn't make a video, but I did do the alt art update, so if you're in the spreadsheet, you can go look at that. Team Up now has 3 of the top 4 most expensive alternate arts from the Sun and Moon era and also the Sword and Shield era. Has the Latias Latios, we have Gengar Mimikyu, and Magikarp Wailord is now in the top 4 at $775 USD approximately. You can see here it was up around 45% over the past 90 days. I think it was up maybe 10% over the past month, 14%. And a lot of the top cards were up still in the past 28-day period. I imagine the next time I go to do an update, that'll be different just because, I don't know, the cutoff or whatever for when I do the update, I think it was a good 28 days. The next 28 days, I think we're going to see a little bit of that pullback. Also, the Sylveon VMAX, Espeon VMAX, and then I think the Glaceon as well, now back in the top 20. A lot of these VMAX evolutions did decent over the past 30 days as well. So that is also worth pointing out. And then finally, you guys know I don't have access to distribution, but I watch a lot of people who do have access to distro, and it seems like these Mega Charizard XEX UPCs, there's going to be a lot of them out there. A lot of people on YouTube that do have distro, they're saying they're getting a lot more of these compared to the Prismatic SPCs. It seems in general like Mega Evolutions, you're getting more supply than some of the later SV era sets like Destined Rivals. And again, take that with a grain of salt. That's not coming directly from me. That's just coming from people I listen to. But hold on to that because we will use that in our discussion today when also talking about the Sword and Shield era. So before we get into Sword and Shield base, I do want to give a shout out to today's video sponsor, the Shiny app. Shiny is a mobile app that helps you track your investments or collection in Pokemon, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic the Gathering, Disney Lorcana, Sorcery, Gundam, and now Riftbound. In Pokemon specifically, they cover English, Japanese, and simplified Chinese products. I love the fact that they're trying to constantly improve the app. In my opinion, they already have a very good user experience. They're also updating their data more frequently than anyone else. And the best part about Shiny is that it's absolutely free. So I'll leave links to the Google Play and App Store in the description and pin comment down below. And thank you to Shiny for sponsoring the video. Now, to get into the Sword and Shield era, I do want to point out something interesting. February 7th, 2020 is when Sword and Shield base was released. It's been almost 6 years for the Sword and Shield era to have been out. It's crazy how fast time flies. This is a box that's still sitting in the mid 500-ish range. We're really not seeing a ton of sales on this box on a weekly basis, especially not buy it nows. I think there's actually 0 over the past 7 days again. Same thing with Rebel Clash. This is sitting like mid 400s, like 425 to 440. And this is another box that's just not selling well. I think you have probably like 2 or 3 sales. Buy it now on average, North America, every single week. So it's doing its thing. You know, time, again, like when we look at this in 5 years, is Rebel Clash going to be worth more than $440? Probably. It's probably going to be like $600, $700. Who knows at that point? Let time do its thing, guys, in this hobby. You really shouldn't be overcomplicating it. Darkness Ablaze, this is an interesting one. We're up to around $325 on Darkness. Every single week, it seems like it's slowly moving up. And, you know, it has a pretty steady supply in terms of sales volume. It's definitely not the best moving booster box of the Sword and Shield era, but it's always doing its thing and slowly chugging along. Vivid Voltage, I think, is actually the best-selling box of the Sword and Shield era right now, and at least over the past like month or so. I think if you average it out, probably more boxes of this moving than basically any other set. Buy it now on eBay, which is kind of surprising. Still not a great investment, in my opinion, even at $250. I just think there's way better places to put your money, and a lot of that is going to be in the alt art sets, potentially, of the Sword and Shield era. And this is really what people are interested in. Battle styles all the way up to Silver Tempest. And I think this week on eBay, there were more boxes listed for basically all of these sets. I'm trying to think if maybe Brilliant had less boxes and maybe Lost Origin by a little bit, but a lot of these other sets like Silver Tempest, Astral, Fusion Strike, Evolving, Chilling, even Battle Styles. I'm pretty sure all of these, more boxes listed. It seems as we get a little bit deeper into this correction, You have a lot of those paper hands people starting to fold. They're listing a couple boxes on eBay. There's no really large store throwing up a lot of boxes. When I go through this, like maybe someone has like a case or 5 boxes of a set, but the majority of the time it's fairly small sellers who don't have storefronts. It just seems like a random person on eBay that has a box or two that they're trying to offload. So clearly a lot of over leveraged people getting a little bit uncomfortable right now. And I think it's presenting decent opportunities for people who are very bullish on Sword and Shield to add more to their positions. I know that a couple days ago when I uploaded the Surging Sparks video, there were people talking about Lost Origin in the comments. And hey, if you're very bullish on a set like Lost Origin right now, you can find this on eBay for around 700 bucks at this point. And at its all-time high, I think on eBay, you were hard pressed to find listings below $900 USD. So fairly large change in listing price over just a couple of months. And it's kind of the same story for a lot of these other sets. Brilliant Stars, I think you can find the odd listing on eBay for around $400 and maybe $80 currently for a box. Chilling Rain, I think I saw a minty box as low as like $440 today or $450. I'm pretty sure there was also a listing for $400 exactly that had a rip in the seam, but still like 400 bucks for a Chilling Rain box at this point. Considering this was almost up to like $600 a month ago, it might be something that some people are interested in. Same thing with Evolving Skies. A lot of people, it kind of bothered me a couple months ago when people were saying this was like a $3,000 box. Evolving was never $3,000. Sure, you might have seen a sale there, but this was always like a $2,500, $2,600 box at its peak. Maybe we're getting closer to $2,700. You can now see boxes listed, I think as low as like $2,100 on eBay North America. I know a lot of people, they watch these videos and they say like, hey, the prices you're showing aren't accurate. Guys, this is coming directly from TCG Player. There's nothing I can do about it. This is just based on their sales data. And in my spreadsheet, I do account for this because the idea was never to track market price on a week-to-week basis. The idea was to track the amount of boxes listed below a 20% leg up from TCG Player price. So as time goes on, if this does happen, right, where TCG Player price is higher than market price, you're going to see the number of boxes and the sales volume do the work for you, right? We don't have to just look at the market price. We can tell if there's like 100 days of inventory remaining, yeah, the box is probably not going to move anytime soon. Whereas if it's like 5 days remaining of inventory, 2 days remaining, sometimes you're down to like less than a day, right? On some of these Sword and Shield sets. That's what told me that those boxes were very hot and they were going to continue to move upwards. So what we're seeing right now, regardless of TCG Player price, is that there's a lot of days of inventory remaining before we move up 20% from TCG Player pricing. And to simplify that even further, I don't see any price growth on these boxes now in the short term. In the long term, obviously I'm still super bullish on Sword and Shield. I think a lot of people expect these boxes one day to be $1,000, $2,000, but short term, you're not going to see any growth on these. And honestly, a lot of them might even continue coming down. And that's why investors are going to have a tough decision, because with a lot of the Mega Evolution products and also Scarlet and Violet Era products like Surging Sparks that we're just seeing, Prismatic Evolutions as well, getting a lot of these reprints and restocks, there's going to be a lot out there. And with the pullback we're seeing in a lot of the Sword and Shield era sets, it might not be worth picking up any Mega Charizard UPCs currently. It might not be worth buying more Surging Sparks. Maybe you want to go pick up some Chilling Rain. Maybe you want to go buy some Brilliant Stars or some Lost Origin. Or maybe if you're a real baller, you're buying more Evolving Skies or Fusion Strike, right? So that is going to be the decision that every investor watching this and whoever doesn't watch this has to make in the short term. Because if you are bullish on Sword and Shield, we're probably not going to see better prices on Sword and Shield than what we're going to see over the next few months on it. That is just my guess. There's going to be a point where we start to see these turn around. And with there being some over leveraged people who have to pay their credit cards or they get nervous with the hobby, whatever, this is a great time to take advantage of their fear and build on your positions if that's what you ultimately want to do. So if you got some value out of this video, I'd really appreciate if you leave a like, subscribe to the channel. It does help out a ton. Leave a comment down below for the algorithm. Also, if you are shopping, eBay, TCG Player, Hobbiesville, I have affiliate links down below. They're free and easy to use. All you have to do is click on it before you do the shopping you plan to do. I'll get a small percentage of the sale at no extra cost to you, so it's a great way to support the channel. But with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.